Hello, welcome to the Deep Focus Show. I'm Tavi,
I'm Clay.
And I'm Aiden.
and we are talking about the 1998 film Saving Private Ryan in our Spielberg series. And yeah, what's everyone's familiarity with this?
For me, I saw this one for the first time like a year and a half ago. They were doing like a screening of it at my school where they had one of the actors come and do like a Q&A and stuff. So and before that we watched the movie. So that was when I first saw it. But obviously I've been like very kind of I've been familiar with it because it's a very acclaimed like movie, obviously, and it's,
Mm,
considered one of Spielberg's especially best like kind of more serious entries. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it.
yeah.
Was it
But I
Matt
think that
Damon?
Edward
No,
Burns, I think, is the
it was not Matt Damon. It was the guy, his name is Edward Burns, but he
Oh
was
yeah.
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like the one of the guys in the of who's like on the mission.
He's
yeah.
I think he played kind of the smartass character.
Yeah.
Remember? I've heard about this movie. I kind of wanted to watch it alongside Thin Red Line whenever we did our Terrence Malick deep dive, but I never got around to doing that. First watch for me, I watched it last night till like about 1 o'clock in the morning. And it was an interesting watch. I'll talk about it more in my review, but
This was, I think, my third watch. But it's been like I think 10 years from my last watch. Yeah, it's like a modern classic, I feel like, and people love it, and it was one of the highest grossing films of that year. I doubt it would make, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to say how much money it would make nowadays, but like I was pretty familiar with the movie. So, Saving Private Ryan, obviously kind of like pretty famous for its visuals, and they kind of I feel like there's almost like a war movies before and after Saving Private Ryan, and all the like the handheld cinematography and is so visual that it's kind of like you feel like you're in the war zone with these characters. And yeah, the like the first half an hour is the Omaha Beach mission, which is absolutely horrifying. And just but it's so well made that you're kind of like really just can't stop watching it, despite how awful almost the scene is, like how you feel during it. But and yeah, it's of course after that it's become the rescue mission for this Private Ryan, whose brothers got killed, and they wanna get him back home. And yeah, it's not gonna be easy mission, and there will be lots of different stuff happening throughout the journey. For me, I yeah, I think this is a great movie. Which, of course, I think visually this is so cool and feels kind of realistic. And for me, it's a bit too long. This is a 170-minute film. Like you're almost exhausted from the first 30 minutes, and then you like have 2.5 hours left after that, and then you're like, oh. But I can't fault the movie. Like it's well acted. It's most of this stuff are on point. Spielberg definitely deserved the best director trophy this year. If you haven't seen it, of course, watch it. I think this is definitely worth a watch. And yeah, I have this at 4.5. Maybe I would like it to be like a little bit shorter, like 20, 30 minutes, but it's a great movie.
I think this movie, well, first I want to talk about the kind of like opening and like the D-Day sequence, because that's probably like kind of the most acclaimed part of the movie in the sense that it maybe is kind of even overshadowed like people's view on the rest of the movie because people just want to talk about that, which you get why, because it is just a phenomenal sequence. And I think the sense of just like palpable and visceral tension and kind of energy in it is insane. And the way that it, especially also the way it contrasts with the ending kind of battle scene, I think is really cool. Um, and and I think the characters are very well realized in the sense of it's a simple story when you boil down to it. It's like, rescue one guy, but it's about the complications that arise from doing that and this kind of these all of these moral questions that the characters arise. And because of that, a lot of it is really just framed around them going on this mission. And for that reason, a lot of that stuff has a kind of slower, relaxed pace that really benefits the material. I think it's interesting just and I do think it's and there have been criticisms I've read about the film being like overly sentimental. And I mean, I kind of get them in some respects, like the part where like his face like turns from the young guy into the old man, like a face app filter. It's a little corny, but like it's in that classic
Yeah.
Spielberg way that we've kind of talked about a lot of times on this channel, where there can be decisions that like are a little schmaltzy or not exactly subtle, but they still work because of their kind of raw emotional resonance. And I think that's a good example. So overall, yeah, I think the film works pretty well. Uh, and I'm kind of in between like a 4.5 and a 5 star because I think the best stuff is really like amazing. I do think it kind of has a couple like what I talked about, like kind of tonal inconsistencies. I think for now, I'm gonna say a 4.5, but when we redo when we finish doing kind of our Spielberg series and we like look back at all the movies, I might bump it up to a 5 and bump some of the ones I've given a 5 to in the past down. Because yeah, I'm not sure where this would rank because I do think it is one of his best movies. Clay, I don't know if you noticed, but the old woman actress who plays Private Ryan's wife, she was the like evil nun in Black Narcissus that we talked about like 2 years ago.
Oh
The
wow.
same actress.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
50
that.
years apart.
This at the very, very end?
Yeah,
Huh. That's interesting. Wow. Must be one of her final roles, I guess.
I think so. Yeah.
So my review, you guys told me to like watch out for the very beginning because it's gonna tear at your heartstrings. And whenever y'all said that and I watched it, the very beginning, they're actually in a grave site. It's the older Private Ryan. And I was like, oh, okay, this is just gonna be some sappy thing. And then it cuts to them at the beach and like, wow. That opening sequence is hard to watch with the shootout on the water and then on the beach. The camera work is just absolutely stunning. It shows how hectic things are. I was not ready for how absolutely brutal this was going to be. Like soldiers laying dead with their guts out, screaming for their mothers. I didn't think up to this point that Spielberg had it in him to do something like this. I could not believe my eyes. Tom Hanks is the star of the show in this movie. He plays John H. Miller. He's tasked with finding the title character of the movie, Ryan, um, James Francis Ryan. He brings characters Mike Horvath, Richard Reben, Adrian Caparzo, Stanley Mellish, Daniel Jackson, Irwin Wade, and Timothy Upham. All of those actors did a really fine job. They all have really interesting personalities. I especially love the Upham character played by Jeremy Davies. I knew him from Lost. He was in that show. Some of them don't make it out alive, like Vin Diesel's Caparzo. Um, that was kind of hard to watch, that scene where he dies to save a child. You could tell that man had a big heart, even though he's like the biggest, buffest one out of the group. You get a young Paul Giamatti here in a role that I would never imagine him playing. This is not his type of role, but this is him in his early years. There's a scene where they find James Frederick Ryan, that's played by Nathan Fillion. That was kind of funny, because that's the wrong Private Ryan. And then there's this one scene where Hank tells Horzoth about the men he's lost and the men he's saved, and he says, "This time the mission is one man." I like that quote. Um, Wade is the next person out of the group to go. That was a heartbreaking scene. And then shortly after, they meet James Francis Ryan, played by Matt Damon, who I don't think he has a lot to do in this role, but it was fun watching him on screen. I do like his reaction whenever he gets the news about his brothers. That was very subtle acting. You see like a little tear run down his eye. And of course, in this film, they name drop the movie. I love the use of Edith Piaf in this movie. It's kind of like a calm before the storm moment in that final act when they're getting ready for this phase of war. Like I mentioned him again, Upham. It was interesting to see him in the line of combat, but I do feel like they kind of spend a little bit too much time on him in that final act. But both the very beginning, the scene at the beach, and then in the final act, those are like the standout scenes of this movie. There's one scene where Tom Hanks mentions his wife, but no other backstory is given. I kind of wish there was something there. Like, I wanted to know more about what he did before the war. I know he said he was a teacher, but at its heart, the film explores the themes of sacrifice, duty, and the value of life. These group of soldiers just risking their lives to bring one man home, and some of the soldiers don't really believe in the mission. I do think Tom Hanks gives an outstanding performance as Captain Miller here. He leads his team with strength and moral complexity, and the movie powerfully reminds us of the immense sacrifices made during war and the unspoken bonds that form in the face of hardships. Saving Private Ryan is a thrilling film. It's a poignant meditation on the cost of heroism and the fragility of life. And I think I like this a lot more than Thin Red Line. I gave that movie 4 stars. I'm going 4.5 stars for this. It's shorter than that movie too, but I still really enjoyed it. Tavi, I'm curious, did you like Thin Red Line more or this one? Because I know you commented on the length of this film.
Yeah, I like Thin Red Line better. I think they're about the same length though. So
I think they're exactly the same length, 2 hours and
Oh,
50
wow.
minutes.
maybe like a minute difference, but yeah, I don't know. Like I guess Thin Red Line also feels a bit long in some ways, but like I
I mean, they're very different movies. Like,
Oh, yeah.
even though they came out
yeah.
the same year and like have that in common, like, and the war
Mm.
setting and kind of epic tone, like the actual kind of like approach, I guess, to like the characters and stuff is very different.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Thin Red Line ever goes as all in to the action as Saving Private Ryan. But maybe
Yeah.
that's because maybe Saving Private Ryan goes a little bit like this. Maybe it
Oh,
goes a
I
bit.
agree. Like, I think Saving Private Ryan, there's some harder to watch scenes in this movie than Thin Red Line, but at the same time, it's a lot more of a sentimental movie than Thin Red Line was. That was more of a um dramatic, brutal exploration of war, and this one has some moments that
Yeah.
really pull at your heartstrings.
But yeah, Clay mentioned about the brutality of the beach scene and like the only time that like the last movie Amistad had the slave ship scene, which is kind of brutal, but this is almost like double the brutality
Yeah.
in this one. But
Yeah, I think this
yeah,
is probably like the most intense, maybe like scene in a Spielberg. Or I mean, it's really more than a scene because it's like half an hour long, but like one of the
yeah,
most intense like portions of a movie that Spielberg has done.
I wonder
Yeah.
if I wonder if this will be the only intense moment in his catalog. There's still some movies we have left to watch, so we'll see.
We shall see. Yeah,
Maybe Munich has
Yeah.
a really brutal scene.
perhaps. Yeah,
Um, I'm not sure.
So what's
Um,
next? Is it AI, artificial intelligence?
I think that is the
I
next one. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me. Yeah, AI is the next one. So it will
which will be
be.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
That's be interesting. We'll have to kind of talk about the like Stanley Kubrick
Mhm.
history of the project and the changes made and stuff.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Definitely excited to
AI.
watch that. And we'll be ranking Peter Jackson here pretty soon,
Yes,
hopefully next month. We'll see.
I hope so. Yes.
Yep, fingers crossed.
Yeah, yeah, for
Thanks you
sure.
guys for watching. Any of you guys have any further thoughts y'all want to say?
I think I've gone through really what I think about the movie.
Yeah, same, same.
All right. Well, y'all take care and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye bye.